He leaned back in his chair, swirled his drink, and said it like it was nothing. "We needed it more than you." And then he smiled. My hands were still shaking when I looked down at my phone. 5 years. Gone. Not a glitch. Not a mistake. Just zero. Blinking back at me like a quiet slap across the face. I looked up at him, and something inside me, the part that had been soft my whole life, went completely still. My name is Maya. I'm 28 years old, and I used to believe that loving your family meant trusting them without question. I grew up in Austin, Texas, in a house that always smelled like warm bread and vanilla. My parents ran a small bakery 2 blocks from our neighborhood, the kind of place where people came in for croissants and stayed for an hour just talking. They taught me 2 things above everything else: work for what you want and never take what isn't yours. My younger sister Sophia never quite lived by those rules. She was the free spirit, the one who floated through rooms and left glitter everywhere without meaning to. I loved her for it, but Sophia had a way of choosing the wrong people, and eventually, she chose Derek. Derek came into her life loud and laughing, the kind of man who fills a room so completely you don't notice what he's taking out of it. He married her fast, charmed our family faster, and within a year, Sophia had become quieter, smaller, like someone was slowly turning her volume down. I noticed, but she always said the same thing: "He just wants what's best for us." She never looked like she believed it. We lost our parents 2 years ago. A car accident on a Tuesday morning, the kind of loss that doesn't feel real until you're standing in a lawyer's office signing papers with numb fingers. They left us the bakery, the house, and a modest savings account. I took my share and poured every single dollar into the boutique I'd been building in my head since I was 19. Sophia took her share and handed it to Derek. When Uncle James suggested the lake house weekend, I thought maybe it was exactly what we all needed. I packed my car with snacks and a good attitude and drove 3 hours telling myself things could still be okay. When I pulled up and Cousin Leah hugged me and whispered, "Just prepare yourself," I should have listened harder. The first strange thing was small. I'd left my laptop on the nightstand before going downstairs to help Leah with dinner. When I came back, it was moved, just slightly. The screen angled a different direction. The charger plugged into the wrong port. My fingers touched the keyboard and the plastic was still warm. I checked the browser history. It wasn't empty. It had been wiped clean. There is a difference, and I felt it immediately, deep in my chest. I told myself I was being paranoid. I went back downstairs, laughed at the right moments, helped clear the dishes, but something in me had already started paying attention in a way I couldn't shut off. The next morning, Claire called me before I was fully awake. She manages the boutique operations, and her voice was too tight, too careful. "Maya, the vendor payment bounced again. Your account is showing insufficient funds." I said, "That's impossible." But even as I said it, I was already opening my banking app, and some quiet part of me already knew. The numbers loaded, and then there was nothing. I walked into the kitchen like I was moving through water. The smell of coffee, Aunt Carol humming by the stove, Derek laughing at something on his phone. I held up my screen and said, "My money is gone." The room went silent in that specific way that tells you everyone is choosing how to react. Uncle James stood up immediately. Leah came to my side. Sophia stared into her mug like she wanted to disappear into it. Derek didn't move. He just looked at me, arms crossed, expression flat. "Did you call the bank?" Leah whispered. I did. They said the password and security questions were entered correctly, from a recognized device. I didn't look at anyone else. I looked at Derek. "You were near my laptop yesterday," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Were you in my room?" Sophia's head snapped up. "Are you accusing my husband?" Derek exhaled, slow and contemptuous. "Maybe your business partner made an error. Or maybe you just don't understand how money works." Something in me went cold and clear at the same time. "Show me your bank statements," I said. "If you're financially stable, it should be easy." His jaw tightened. "I don't owe you proof." "Then you're already answering my question." That's when he leaned forward and said it, quietly, casually, like a man who has never once faced a consequence in his life. We needed it more than you." The room erupted. Shouting, disbelief, Aunt Carol pressing her hand over her mouth. But I didn't hear any of it. Something inside me had already made a decision. 6 months earlier, after a hacking attempt on my boutique's network, I had installed a security tool on my laptop. It was quiet, automatic, invisible. It photographed unauthorized users, logged keystrokes, recorded device IDs, and time-stamped everything. I had almost forgotten about it. Derek hadn't known it existed. I reached into my bag for my phone. He moved toward me fast, but Uncle James stepped between us, shoulders squared, voice like stone. "Back off." Derek laughed in his face. "She's being dramatic. The money's gone. It's done. She's never seeing it again." He said it like a man who has gotten away with things his whole life. The kind of man who counts on the people around him staying small and silent. But then Sophia stood up. She wrenched her arm out of his grip so hard her sleeve bunched at the shoulder. Her voice cracked, but it didn't break. "I'm tired, Derek. I am so tired of lying for you." The room froze. Derek stared at her like she'd done something unforgivable. And then anger moved across his face in a wave, and I knew we needed the call to already be made. It was. 60 seconds later, the front door opened with the kind of force that rattles picture frames. 3 uniformed officers and a woman in plain clothes stepped into the living room. Detective Rivera held a folder and scanned the room once before finding me. "Maya? That's me." She nodded. "Your bank's cybersecurity team flagged the transfers and traced the login attempts to this location. We've been building the case since last night." Derek's voice cracked for the first time. "This is a misunderstanding. Someone hacked. It wasn't—" "The logins came from a recognized device," Detective Rivera said simply. I handed her my phone. She opened the security folder and scrolled through image after image. Derek at my laptop. Derek typing. Derek's face lit blue by the screen in the middle of the night. Every keystroke, every transfer, time-stamped. Detective Rivera's voice dropped to something flat and final. "Mr. Henderson, turn around, hands behind your back." He stumbled. He shouted. He turned to Sophia like she was supposed to save him. Tell them I didn't, Sophia, tell them." Sophia walked to stand beside me instead. "You did it," she said quietly. "You know you did." His face crumbled. And for the first time since I'd met him, Derek Henderson looked afraid. As they walked him out the door, he called my name like it was a threat. "Maya, this isn't over." But it already was. The house felt different after he was gone. Lighter, like the air itself had been holding its breath. Sophia collapsed into my arms on the porch and cried in a way that didn't sound like grief. It sounded like release, like years of held breath finally letting go. "I should have left sooner," she whispered. "I should have told you." "You're safe now," I said. "That's the only part that matters." Detective Rivera called me 4 days later. Most of the money had been recovered. The remaining gap was covered by fraud protection. I sat on the edge of my bed and let myself feel it, all of it. The relief, the exhaustion, the strange quiet pride of a woman who didn't crumble when she was supposed to. Sophia filed for divorce within the week. She moved into my apartment with 2 bags and a habit of baking at midnight when she couldn't sleep. Some nights, I'd wake up to the smell of cinnamon and find her at the kitchen table, hands dusted with flour, looking more like herself than she had in years. A month later, I stood inside my boutique as morning light poured through the windows across displays I had built with 5 years of early mornings and late nights. The money was back. The doors were open. And I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Solid. Like someone who knows exactly who she is and what she's capable of. Sophia stopped by that afternoon with pastries and a steadier smile than the one she'd carried to the lake house. We didn't talk much about Derek. There wasn't much left to say. Some people walk into your life like a storm and leave believing they destroyed something. What they don't count on is you standing in the wreckage, already building. Blood doesn't give anyone permission to hurt you, and silence was never the price of belonging. I learned that at a lake house on a Saturday morning with cold hands and $0, and a man who thought he had already won. He hadn't.